Shri Suresh Prabhu.
Madam, I rise to move that the Chemical Weapon Convention Bill 2000 be taken into consideration. And Madam, this bill, the Indian Chemical Weapon Convention Bill 2000, has already been passed by the Rajya Sabha, and this bill is in fact a part of the implementation process. We had already been signatory to the convention, we had ratified the convention, and now this bill, which is brought before the House, would in fact give effect to the ratification process which has already been initiated in the past. Madam, India has been one of the first countries to have signed the convention along with some other countries, and has been one of the strong supporters of the objective for which this convention has been effected. We have already taken certain steps. India is one of the few countries which has already even made some disclosure which were required, and now we have brought this bill before the House, which will in fact help and enable us to complete our international obligation which we already made to the international community.
Now the Minister.
Sir, I wish to thank all the honourable members, first for all the interventions, but also for universally and unanimously supporting the bill. So it is true that it's a very historical development in which a ratification which had already taken place is now given effect in the form of legislation. So what had already been done at the executive level is now also meeting an approval at the legislative level also. And therefore, I really wish to thank all the members of the House, as well as I consider myself very fortunate to be participating in this historical development. So it is true that this bill could have been legislated upon. This ratification could have been converted into a legislation quite some time back. But for some reason or the other, it was delayed. But sir, it is wrong to infer that it is now taking place at a time when our Honorable Prime Minister is supposed to be visiting the United States. Sir, in fact, this bill was introduced in Rajya Sabha during the budget session. It could not be passed by the Rajya Sabha, and therefore it could not be introduced in Lok Sabha. This bill was passed in Rajya Sabha during this current session, and as soon as it was passed by that House, I have introduced this bill to Lok Sabha. So I would like to assure the House that there is no other reason than to introduce this bill at this particular time than the legislative precedence which has decided at what time the bill should be introduced in this House. Sir, I am of course thankful to Mr. Manishankar Iyer for really raising the level of this discussion to a level in which we are now legislating this bill for a reason which is really amply clear, that India believes in a process which has been followed by successive governments for a long period of time, and this bill is yet another step in the same direction. It is of course not only him but other honourable members wanted me to convey to our Honourable Prime Minister the feelings of this House about the CTBT or the NPT or the issues related to nuclear weapons. I can assure the House I would certainly do that, and I am sure the Prime Minister is already aware of your views. Maybe he is watching this debate, did not be present in the House, but he definitely would be watching this debate, and I would definitely take note of that. Sir, Mr. Banatwala has of course raised certain issues, and he has also moved some amendments. I will come to it little in a few minutes, but I also thank him for that, and so I thank Mr. Murthy and Mr. Rupchand Pal. I am going to answer a question tomorrow, which is numbered 4, on the Bhopal gas tragedy. And I can assure you that not only the government is monitoring it in the Department of Chemicals and Petrochemicals, but also there is a group of ministers which acts like a standing group which also monitors this. Of course, this does not obviate the ordeal that so many of these victims of gas tragedies had to undergo, but this is only to illustrate a point that we are also watching this as closely as possible. But of course, your sentiments, your views that you express would now help me probably to expedite this process further. I can assure you that we'll also take some immediate steps to ensure that we take some quick action on that. Mr. Vikram Dev and Mr. Singh also have supported the bill, and so is my friend from Maharashtra, Mr. Ramdas Athawale. Probably the only reason why he is also supporting besides others is that I also happen to be his fellow colleague from the state of Maharashtra. I think it's a fortunate fact that he happens to be from a state which also has supported the peace movement on time to time, and this is yet another step to prove the point that we join the national mainstream in welcoming all these initiatives of this type. Sir, Mr. Banatwala has moved some amendments, and in fact that is only to prove a point that his watchful, alert and vigilant eyes always look through what is written between the lines. But I can assure him that all his concerns have been expressed in this bill itself. I will try to explain it to you. Sir, your first amendment pertains to line 14, which says that provided that all amendments shall first be submitted to the Parliament for its advice and consent. And your apprehension is that probably Government of India would agree to something outside the Parliament and the Parliament may not be knowing about it. Sir, Article 15 of the Convention is so clear, and the process of modification, amendment to this is so complicated, and unless it is approved unanimously by all the parties to the Convention, it is not possible to bring in any amendment. And unless we really amend that Convention, it is not possible that a schedule which is forming part to this bill can ever be amended. So therefore, I can assure you that there is no reason to feel that Government of India can ever do something outside the Parliament surreptitiously without the knowledge of the Parliament. Even then, I can assure the House, and I can give an assurance very explicitly, that whenever such amendments are made to the Convention, the government will come before the Parliament at the earliest opportunity and place it before the House. No, because there is enough provision. In fact, the Convention itself has been negotiated for a long period of time, and it is very unlikely. So therefore, it's basically, it's not really like to take effect. But I can assure you that if at all there is something, which will definitely bring it. Sir, your second amendment is pertaining to national authority, and you say that it should have a technical secretariat. Sir, in fact, the authority itself is going to be consisting of such persons, and the point which was also raised by Honorable Mr. Ramdas Athawale is that it should consist of technical people. In fact, the whole committee itself is going to be consisting of very, very technical people. So I don't think there is really any reason to have another technical secretariat, because the committee itself is going to be consisting of technical personnel. So therefore, to have another secretariat would probably mean that we are only creating additional bureaucracy, which is avoidable. Sir, Mr. Banatwala's third point is 4A and 4B. He has proposed some amendment after line 19 to say that review general operations of the Convention. Sir, I would like to draw his attention to clause 7A, 7.1 and 7.2, A and B, which are very elaborate, and in fact in that, one of the functions of the national authority, inter alia, is also going to include the review of the Convention itself, which is the intention of your proposed amendment. And therefore, if you read the clause 7.1a, it shall be the general duty of the national authority to fulfill on behalf of the Government of India the obligations under the Convention. That itself means that you are actually reviewing the Convention, because the Conventions also, if you go further, it shall be incumbent on the national authority to act as national focal point for effective liaison with the organization and other state parties on matters related to the Convention. And clause 7.2, interact with the organizations, monitor compliance with the provisions of the Convention. It also says specifically, small b, clause 2, 7.2, it says that monitor compliance with the provisions of the Convention itself. So therefore, I think this particular clause captures the point that we would like to insert as an amendment. And therefore, I feel it truly is available, there is a measure available within the proposed legislation itself. Sir, your other point, and that is a very point which is well taken. In fact, I remember the days when I used to also sit in the opposition benches and also used to want that Parliament should not be taken for granted. And I can assure you that I have not forgotten the days, and even now, though I am a minister, I continue to be the member of Parliament. And so therefore, Parliament cannot be taken for granted, and I can assure the House that under Rule Clause 56, which confers the right on the government to make laws, make rules. We will make it incumbent on the part of the government to place the report which you want it to be placed before the parliament. It will be placed before the parliament. I can make the rules, I can give a written, I'm making an assurance to the House, and I can assure you that whatever report will be received by the government will be placed on the table of the House as soon as it is feasible. Sir, in fact, the other point also is the point which you already, it mentions about the same thing, that is article, line 14, that is 2 and 3, the amendment that you have proposed. I think that again, I can assure you that under Rule 56, the clause 56, the rule-making authority, rule-making powers of the government will be exercised to ensure that even this will be placed before the parliament as soon as it is possible. And sir, you also proposed amendment, the last amendment which in fact talks about why the dates, why it is not mentioned that it is whether it's 29th April 1997. If you read, probably one gets a feeling about it when you read the first part. But sir, if you go on and you make a complete reading of clause 39A, would show that along with the words before the commencement of this act, there is also line 32, there is also reference to and continue to be after such commandments so engaged. That's line 37. So if you read it together, it definitely means that there is really no need to bring an amendment which you have proposed. However, I really thank Mr. Banatwala for being, as he is, so vigilant to keep tab on the government to make sure that we draw salaries for which we really work. Thank you very much.
The question is,
explanation to ask from the Honorable Minister.
when clause 5 comes, then just now. Yes?
Consideration at
Have
the
it.
consideration stage. Thank you. The clause 5 of the bill reads as follows. The central government may, by notification in the official gazette, declare that this act shall cease to be in force in case the Government of India withdraws from the convention in accordance with the provisions of Article 16. Now there are two portions. One about the notification declaring that this law ceases to be effective. Now the central government may by notification of official gazette declare that this act shall cease to be in force. And the second is the withdrawal of the convention. These are the two things. Now, as far as the first part is concerned, why should we have a provision of this kind in the law? Supposing the government has withdrawn from the convention and government wants that this law should not remain on the statute book, by issuing an ordinance, they can do it. Second, if the parliament is in session, they can come before the parliament and get the law passed. Why this legislative authority should be given to the executive? Now, I would be obliged if the Honorable Minister explains this point. And the second point is that the government has very rightly kept the right to withdraw from the convention. There would be situations in which it may be required, in the interest of the sovereignty and the interest of the country, to withdraw from the convention. I think almost all countries in the world which have acceded to the convention and which have passed the laws of this nature have this kind of clause. But we would like to know from the government, what are the circumstances in which government would think that this country should withdraw from the convention. Now these are the 2 points, and I will feel obliged if the Honorable Minister explains.
So first of all, I really cannot spell out the possibilities or the circumstances under which the government will be withdrawing from such convention. It's an enabling provision. It's a provision which is there in the act or in the proposed bill only because in the event that in the national interest, the government really feels to withdraw from it, there should be a provision like this. At the same time, in case we withdraw, what it really means is, we'll withdraw it by notification, but even Article 16, which in fact gives, there are certain actions which have already been initiated or taken, those actions will be protected. So what really, if you really read by this, what it really means is, withdraws from the convention in accordance with provision Article 16, and on such declaration this act shall cease to be enforced, but its expiry under the operation of this act shall not affect the following acts. Yeah.
I was trying to understand as to why this kind of provision should be there. Supposing you withdraw from the convention, and supposing you want that this law should not be enforced, you can do it by issuing an ordinance if the parliament is not in session. And if the parliament is in session, you can come before the parliament and can get this law nullified. Why should you have a provision of this kind? Now we are saying that the executive, the legislature is saying that the executive has the lawmaking power. Lawmaking power includes making the law and removing the law from the statute book. Why should you have a provision of this kind? Why should the legislature give this right to the executive?
You know, as you know, as per the Constitution of India, any treaty that Government of India signs, it requires an authority to sign by the cabinet. Also the ratification is done by the cabinet and not by, unlike the system in the US where the Senate has to actually ratify. Here what we are saying is the act will still remain. What it really going to have, the ordinance can repeal the act, but what we are really trying to say is just an withdrawing from a convention, which itself can be done by the cabinet, and by notification we can do it. But still, what this clause means is that despite whenever even that happens, what is going to be protected are these A, B, C and D, because these are the actions which have already been initiated. So if you really look at it, but its expiry under the operation of this section shall not affect the following actions. And what are the actions? The previous operation of anything duly done or suffered under this act, or any rule made thereunder, or any order made under such rule. No, because this has already been taken. You try to understand when the act was enforced, because this act is giving rise, this bill is giving effect to the convention. We are withdrawing from convention, but certain actions could have been taken under the act because this act is already passed by the parliament. And under this act, the following actions could have been taken, like anything duly done or suffered under this act. Any right, privilege, obligations or liability acquired, accrued or incurred under this act. Any penalty, forfeiture or punishment incurred with respect to offences under this act. In the absence of this, what could happen is that we'll be withdrawing from convention, and then probably this, what actions we have taken as giving effect to this particular convention, in the absence of this such a provision, these acts could be questioned. And this is only to protect that.
This says that the declaration, I will just put this will be my last question. We will not have the discussion of this nature. We can discuss it outside also. The central government may, by notification in official gazette, declare that this act shall cease to be enforced.
Because we are withdrawing from the convention. So, as at the time when we withdraw from the convention is a precursor to the act. Therefore, but I take your point. I will consult the lawyers in the legal department. If in case there is anything, we will definitely do.
Thank you. Thank you. Now the question is that the bill as passed by the Rajya Sabha be taken into consideration. Those in favor may say ayes. Aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion for consideration of the bill is adopted. The House will now take up the class-by-class consideration of the bill. The question is that class 2 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say ayes. Aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The class 2 stand part of the bill. Shri GM Banatwala, you are moving your amendment?
Sir, I move the amendment number 1.
The question is that amendment number 1, moved by Shri GM Banatwala, be adopted. Those in favor may say ayes. Aye. Those against may say no. No. I think the ayes have it. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that class 3 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Class 3 stand part of the bill. The question is that clauses 4 and 5 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say ayes. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The clauses 4 and 5 stand part of the bill. Now, Shri J. Banatwala, amendment number 2.
Sir, I move my amendment number 2.
The question is that the amendment number 2 moved by Shri J. Banatwala be adopted. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that class 6 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Class 6 stand part of the bill. Now, Shri J. Banatwala.
Sir, I move my amendment number 3.
The question is that amendment number 3 moved by Shri J. Banatwala be adopted. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that class 7 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The class 7 stand part of the bill. The question is that class 8 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The class 8 stand part of the bill. Shri J. Banatwala.
Sir, I move my amendment number 4. Why relegate the matter to the rules? Why not have it in the bill itself that the annual report should come to the Parliament and be laid on the table of the House? Sir, therefore I move my amendment to...
The question is that the amendment number 4 moved by Shri J. Banatwala be adopted. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that clauses 9 and 10 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clauses 9 and 10 stand part of the bill. Shri J. Banatwala.
Sir, I move my amendment number 5.
The question is that amendment number 5 moved by Shri J. Banatwala be adopted. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that clause 11 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 11 stand part of the bill. The question is that clauses 12 to 38 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The clauses 12 to 38 stand part of the bill. Now, Shri J. Banatwala, you are moving your amendment.
Yes, sir. Final number 6 is very important also. How can you punish people for what action you have taken even before the treaty came into operation, sir? So I move my amendment number 6.
The question is that the amendment number 6 moved by Shri J. Banatwala be adopted. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the noes have it. The noes have it. The amendment is negated. The question is that clause 39 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The clause 39 stand part of the bill. The question is that clauses 40 to 56 do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clauses 40 to 56 stand part of the bill. Now the question is that the schedule do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The schedule stand part of the bill. The question is that clause 1 enacting formula, preamble and long title do stand part of the bill. Those in favor may say aye. Aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. Clause 1 enacting formula, preamble and long title stand part of the bill. The minister may now move that bill as passed by the Rajya Sabha be passed.
Sir, I move that the Chemical Weapon Convention Bill 2000 be passed.
The question is that bill be passed. Those in favor may say aye. Aye. Those against may say no. I think the ayes have it. The ayes have it. The motion is adopted and the bill as passed by the Rajya Sabha is passed.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Shri Pramod.